Hey fellow backyard warriors, Nick here. Today I'm going to be carving this piece of serpentine. This was given to me as a gift by Antler Mike when I was at the Between the Rivers Primitive Skills Gathering this year. So today we're going to be carving this piece of serpentine into a Maori style hand club called a Patu. Now some would say that you'd call this a mere since it's made of serpentine, but it's a very soft serpentine. It's not hard like the types of serpentine that are often known as Pounamu, as well as the Nephrite Jade, which is also called Pounamu. So I've gone ahead and traced the design of the club onto the piece of stone. I tried to find a spot where the grain continued all the way. You can see it starts off thick on this end and then tapers down to thin. I'm going to have to remove this hump here. But I think this is probably the best place to put this. So I'm going to start cutting into this and hopefully it all holds together. Since this stone is pretty soft, I can cut it with my metal cutting bandsaw. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I've got a old blade on here and we'll see how this does. Here we go. Now that it's cut fairly close to the outline, I'm going to come back and just cut this piece off from about here. You can see that it's cracked out and this isn't solid here, so it's a good thing that we're going on this side of it. I'm going to cut that off and then I'm going to start grinding this. Alright, so now I'm going to be grinding this down with my farrier's rasp. It's going to take a little longer than if I use power tools, but the water-cooled setup I have right now is too small for this thing. So here we go. And one kind of bad thing that happened, this corner chipped out, so I lost some thickness in the end here. We'll figure it out. Here we go. So now that it's getting closer to the thickness I want, I've gone ahead and retraced out the Patu again. And I'm just going to cut as close to the lines as I can. And then I can start bringing everything together. All right, here it is. So now I'm just going to bring everything down to the lines, round out my handle, and then prepare this so I can do some carving on the back and I can drill my wrist cord hole. And then I've got to thin this down, start working on my edge. There's a couple of cracks in here, but I think it'll hold together. I was able to cut off some of the really bad looking stuff over here. So hopefully it turns out. Alright, welcome back everybody. I didn't realize that my camera had died. So here I'm at. It's been about 2 hours. And this is where I'm at right now. So I've gone ahead and smoothed this section out. So once I thin this out a little bit more, I'm going to come back here, carve this end, drill the handle hole, and then I'm going to come back and put an edge on this, and then we'll sand. So now I've got a cone-shaped cutting burr in my drill chuck, and I'm just going to be drilling halfway through one side, and I'm going to flip it over, and then drill halfway through the other, and I'm going to make the holes meet. I'm using the cone bit because this hole is going to end up looking more like a hand drilled hole than a machine drilled one. Alright, so now you can see through it. So now that both sides meet, I'm just going to keep working both sides, expanding them a little bit until the hole they make in the middle is about 1/4 of an inch in diameter. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now I'm just going to carve a few lines going up. I'm going to start right here. Now that I've got it roughed out, I'm just going to keep following these grooves, deepen it up, and even everything out. Okay, so now that this is roughed in, I'm going to save this for sanding. Now we're going to go back and just bevel the edges and get it pretty close to sharp. I'm not going to make the edge super sharp because this serpentine, it's got some cracks in it, but we're going to get pretty close. All right, here it is. So now it's time to get sanding. All right, so now we're going to be sanding. I'm going to start with 500 grit wet dry sandpaper, and I'm going to be sanding with water. Look at the color on this. Now the reason why I'm starting with 500 is because I don't want to make any really deep scratches right now, because then I'm going to really have to work hard to get them out. One thing I'd like to clear up real quick is that I've been saying that this is soft this whole time. But when I say soft, I mean it's soft for a stone. It's still very hard. This thing's harder than bone. It's harder than wood. So I would not want to get hit by this thing. And now I'm just sharpening up the edges. Like I said before, this isn't going to be super sharp. If this were made of jade, I'd make this a lot sharper, but it's still going to be sharp enough. Now I'm going to move up to 1000 grit, sand the whole thing, and then we'll move up to the next grit. So for this, I'm just going to be sanding with this 2000 grit. I'm not going to use any compound or a buffer or anything like that. Here it is, all finished up. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And I was looking at all of the little cracks, and I'm not sure if you can really see it on camera, but you can see it's a little shinier or a little more glossy on the seams. And that is a harder material that's actually filled in the cracks. So I think this stone probably cracked in the ground at some point, and then something filled in and it remineralized. So even though I was worried that it was going to fall apart, it's actually a really nice, solid stone. So here it is. If you'd like to see me do more serpentine and jade carving, please let me know. And if you like what I'm doing, be sure to check out my channel for other videos. And I've also written several books on different topics, and I'll put links to those in the description below. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.